Check, mic check, mic check. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is, hold on, let me transition. It is, what day is it? Tuesday, the 13th of February. So if you're in the United States, it's it's Valentine's Eve, Valentine's Day Eve. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a few weeks since I've jumped on a live stream, since I've really uploaded anything to YouTube. So I've definitely been very distracted as of recently, but I've definitely been keeping up with my trading, keeping up with Bitcoin and everything cryptocurrency. So we've been staying on top of that. We just haven't been uploading as much content lately. So yeah, one of the goals is to get back on top of this ASAP, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to put out there. I just haven't had the time to put it together. So yeah, it has been a wild few weeks. We've gone from as low as $38,000 to as high as $50,000 yesterday. So a very exciting time to be in crypto. And yeah, guys, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. We're very excited. I'm very excited, and we've been trading a ton in the Discord. If you guys are part of it, you guys already know. You know, we have all sorts of new features that we launched this year. We have we're doing what we've always done for the last 6 years, which was leverage trading signals. But then we've incorporated options. So not options trading directly, but selling options for premiums. That has been very, very lucrative over the last few months. We'll talk about it a little bit more because we've been hitting at a 90% win rate, which is insane. Then we also have the algo signals, which is an algorithm, right? It's a bot that it has a certain rules. Once those rules are met, it sends out signals, and those have been crushing it as well with an 80% win rate. So yeah, so it's been wild to start off 2024. Bitcoin's price has been wild to start off 2024. So we're definitely been very, very busy keeping up with everything, and we're excited to share some of that with you guys today. So what we're gonna be doing in today's video is what we always do, right? We're gonna do an analysis on the price of Bitcoin, where we're at currently, what the charts are looking like, and where we could be going. Now, to start things off, the main thing here that we're looking for, that we need to keep in mind, is this right here: Bitcoin halving countdown. Guys, we are now officially 66 days away from the Bitcoin halving. All right, guys, remember, this is an estimate. It's not exactly when it might be, but it's so far the estimated time is around the 20th of April, which is only right? On 420, the Bitcoin halving is going to happen. In the previous bull run, we hit $69,000. So it'll be crazy if on 420 Bitcoin's price is at $69,000. I'm telling you guys, I would not be surprised if that happened. 69, 420, just that's how the Bitcoin community likes to troll. I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what ended up happening. So that's one thing that we have to keep in mind, guys, because pre-halving, there's always been some sort of rally within that 60-day period. And now we have institutions on board, and they're bringing in a ton of money. I think it was over $3 billion in the first month of trading in their ETFs, which is insane. and you can see it's being reflected on Bitcoin's price. So yeah, guys, it has been a wild few weeks, and let's go ahead and take a look here. But before we do that, let's take a look. Before we break down the entire analysis, let's go over the overall market really quick, as we usually do. You can see over the last 7 days, Bitcoin has been outperforming pretty much the majority of stuff in the top 25, and maybe the majority of crypto. It's up 13.5% versus Ethereum, for example, is only up 11%, and Ethereum is usually outperforming, right? So that means that Ethereum has some catching up to do soon. And we'll talk a little bit more about the money flow in the market cycle. So you can see right now it's outperforming over the last week. We have BNB up 6%. We have Solana up 15%. So Solana's been keeping up with Bitcoin there. XRP hasn't really moved too much. We can see Cardano up about 8%. AVAX up 15% as well. So AVAX has been trying to match Solana here, and is definitely one of our favorite bets here, along with Solana here for this next bull run. And as we continue to go down, Bitcoin Cash pretty much keeping up and matching Bitcoin's move there. We have Immutable up 34%. Optimism up about 14-15%. Near Protocol up 18% over the last 7 days or so. So those are some of the top performers here in the top 25. If we look at the top crypto gainers and losers in the top 100 overall, we can see that the top gainer right now is Beam, up 67%, over 67%. We can see DYM Dimension up 46%, Stacks up 45%, Caspa up over 36%, about 37%, and Immutable up 34%. So those are some of the top gainers here, and we have a few losers, but not too many. You can see that we literally only have 3 projects in the top 100 that are negative over the last week, that are in the red. So and this one actually just fell out of the top 100. It's now 101. So yeah, so it's been a crazy time. And let's go ahead and take a look at the trading, the economic calendar. And you can see today was an inflation rates, and they actually came in pretty hot. They came in higher than expected. So we see in prices reflected a little bit. So that, we've seen prices go down today so far. So everything's kind of in red. And that's basically because of that. The inflation rates came in. They came in a little bit hotter than expected. You see the consensus was 2.9%, and it actually came in at 3.1%. So although it was lower than the previous one, as you guys can see here, it is lower than the previous. However, it was higher than consensus. So, the market doesn't like to be wrong, right? So anytime we have, it comes in higher than what the market is expecting, you'll see it a little bit in prices. But since it wasn't anything crazy, I think it's something that it'll be over rather soon, right? So looking here, and this here is the probability, the target rate probability. So the next thing that we're focused on, that we're looking for, is the rate cuts, right? So remember, last year and the year before, basically, we were just getting a bunch of rate hikes. Finally, at the end of last year, we started getting rate pauses, and now we're looking forward for the rate cuts, right? So you can see right now that the next meeting is the 20th of March, and it looks like we're going to stay paused. There's about 91.5% chance of remaining paused, and an 8.5% chance of a rate cut. So the market is not thinking that we're going to get any rate cuts here next month. If we go over to May, you can see that the chances, the probability for a rate cut goes up to about 35%. So still, they're still expecting in May to, again, keep rates paused. And then in June is when is expected to have the first rate cut this year. So it's currently it's up to around 51.2% probability for that. But again, we're we're about 3-4 months out at this point. So yeah, this could change, and this will change very, very easily depending on what happens going forward with inflation rates, with with the meetings, with the Fed meetings, and all of that. So something just to kind of keep in mind, keep paying attention to. But because when the rate cuts do finally come in, it's gonna be crazy, right? Markets are gonna we're definitely going into what I'm gonna call a raging bull market at that point in the markets, and the markets are already at all-time highs. So we're definitely expecting to see prices go up higher. If you have money still parked on the sidelines, you should definitely be looking to move into the markets, because even though the economy overall is not super strong right now, the markets don't care. People just want to see prices go up, values go up, and their investments go up. So that's kind of how it looks like 2024 is going to play out. And of course, overall, and this kind of plays into Bitcoin's bull run, because in April, we're going to have the halving. And then after that, if we get in the summer, if we get the rate cuts, that kind of adds on to what's already going to be going on with Bitcoin. And I'm expecting definitely new all-time highs this year is pretty much what I'm expecting. And then maybe even $100,000. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna hit 100,000 this year, but I know we're definitely hitting over 100,000 in the next 2 years. So either this year, next year, Bitcoin's value will go into the $100,000 range. Let me say what's up to a few people here in the chat. We have Rivers. What is going on, Rivers? Great to see you in here again. We have Ducky Dave. Great seeing you here again. He said, Ducky Dave says, yo, Jay, what a time to be in crypto. Hope this last week is just the start of a new bull run. 100%, Dave. I agree with you. This is a great time to be alive. Great time to be in crypto. And I love it, man. Bull runs, I love bull runs because everybody gets happy, right? It's just that energy that goes, that comes into the markets where everyone is happy, everyone's making money, and a lot of lives get changed. So I try to do my part in that as much as possible by educating and providing, kind of showing what I'm doing personally and providing that type of information. So I'm excited. It's been a long 2 years since the previous bull run. So the last 2 years have been pretty slow, and just kind of all these people saying that Bitcoin's dead, Bitcoin's going to zero, Bitcoin's et cetera, right? Having to fight them off for the last 2 years. Finally, here we are back again, just as we said, just as we knew we would always be. The Bitcoin ETFs have been approved. Ethereum ETFs are going to be approved next. It's inevitable. BlackRock already applied for it. We had another hedge fund recently apply for it. Guys, it's a matter of time. So, I would suggest filling up on some Ethereum bags if you don't have them already. So, with all of that covered, all of that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into what this video is all about, what you guys are here for, which is that Bitcoin analysis where we take a look at the chart. So starting off here all the way in the monthly, as you guys know, I love to do top-down analysis. My favorite way to analyze the market, because it gives you an overall understanding of what's going on through all the different time frames, right? So you're not just looking at one time frame, we're looking at multiple time frames. So I personally like to do monthly. I start off on monthly, then I go into weekly, then I go into daily, Then I go into the 4 hour. And the 4 hour, I mean, not as much. 4 hour. Once you go under daily, then you're looking at time frames more for trading more than anything. Um, so yeah, so monthly, weekly, and daily is what I like to stick to. That gives me the understanding of the overall market, the overall charts, what's going on with the overall trends, et cetera, et cetera. And then I could go into the 4 hour and under time frames when I'm looking for trades or planning trades, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go ahead and start here at the monthly time frame. As you guys can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles in a row. Guys, the last time we got 6 green candles in a row was all the way back in 2020. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021 was the last time that we got that, basically, right? But the crazy thing is that this happened after the Bitcoin halving, right? So if we look here, let's see, in 2019, so this is pre-halving, right? Looking pre-halving, and you can see that it was pretty much red, most of it, right? And then in January of the year of the halving, which is where we're at right now, we had a big green month. It was up 30%. Let's see, January we didn't have, it was pretty much break even, but that's because we started this run in September, basically. So we had September 4%, October 28%, November 8%, December 12%. Last month, January, it was pretty much break even, but still green. It was plus 0.5%. And currently, we're up about 15% now, 15.5%. So it's been a wild ride so far. And you can see that usually it's after the Bitcoin halving that price that we go into that bull market. So if we're saying that we're still not in the bull market, then just imagine what could happen going forward. We got a donation here from Ramiro Hernandez. I wonder who that is. Ram, what's going on, Ram? Appreciate the donation, man. I don't really get donations on this channel, so it's always nice when one comes through, man. Appreciate it. Ram, everybody give it up for Ram here in the chat. Appreciate it, man. So going back into what I was saying, historically, the Bitcoin bull run doesn't actually begin until after the Bitcoin halving. But there's been so much going on already this year that we've already started moving up. So that's why I think that we could definitely not only are we guaranteed, and not only is it only a matter of time that we're going to break these all-time highs, but we're also going to be hitting $100,000 probably this year. Remember, there's a lot more institutional investors and institution money coming in right now. So things could get pretty crazy as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency become mainstream. And, there's already ads running on Google, ads running on TV about these Bitcoin ETFs. Once Ethereum ETFs become a thing as well, even more billions of dollars are going to be poured into this market. And guys, it's going to be crazy. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be crazy. I'm expecting Bitcoin to hit over 100K probably this year, if not for sure in 2025. I'm expecting Ethereum to hit maybe like $10,000, maybe even beyond that. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in the markets right now, guys. This could be one of the last times where we have basically this generational opportunity where we can really make life-changing money in crypto. And the reason I say that this could be one of the last times is because with institutions coming in, I think volatility is going to drop, right? Where I'm not expecting the same volatility that we've had in previous years once these institutions come into play, because now we're going to have a lot of money that'll be able to, you know, soften basically the volatility within the market. So this could be the last major bull run. Now with the new institutional money that's going to be coming in, that really pushes the prices up in not only Bitcoin but all of crypto. And this is probably one of the last opportunities to really make that life-changing amount of money just by investing in something and kind of holding it. So other than that, you know, it's going to be a little bit slower. You know, you won't be able to make a life-changing money right away in one bull run like you could in the past. But yeah, but this is definitely, I think, one of those last opportunities here. So you got to take full advantage of this, guys. I personally got into crypto in 2016 and I retired. I made enough life-changing money by 2017 that I was able to basically retire, and I started this brand, right, where I just started educating on Bitcoin, because I see it as it saved my life, changed my life, and I wanted to kind of pass that on to other people as well, and to as many people as I could. And I started just like you guys. I started with very small investments of $1,000 or less, and slowly built my way up, you know, through over time, right? Through one of the first Bitcoin bull runs that I ever encountered. So very exciting stuff, guys, and that's why that's really why I do this. I don't do this for the money. I don't need the money, you know, from I really don't make money from YouTube. So that's not why I create this content, why I do these things. I do this to educate and to pass this along to as many people as possible. So hopefully you guys are able to get that from my content. So let's go ahead and now and break down what we're seeing here. So this that I have, this red block here that I have is basically the resistance area for Bitcoin, right? So if we look here, we can see that last time we hit this on last month, price got rejected very quickly, and that's when we dropped as low as $38,500. That was with that rejection at this resistance line. And how did I know that this was a resistance line? Well, just kind of looking back in history. If we look back in history, we see 1, 2, 3, 4 times price was rejected there. We see one time right here, price used this as a support. Once again, when we lost that as support and we came back, we got rejected 2 months in a row before a big breakout to the upside. That's when we set our new all-time highs. We used it as support here. Again, here, look at this. We broke above it and then a big rejection down before once again a big breakout to the top. Then we topped off here, used this as support. So that's how I knew, and that's how I know that this is a big level of interest here. And it's because just looking back historically, right? It doesn't take a genius. You don't need to be an oracle. You don't need to see the future. You just need to see the past, right? And that's what trading is. A lot of trading is not about trying to guess the future. And I know like I always see people write, you know, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. And you're right. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. That's why you don't try to guess what's going to happen in the future. But what we do know is what's happened in the past, and by using the past, by using his history, by using historical data, we can make educated guesses on what could happen in the future. So that's why we always look at history. So now we know that this is a big, massive level there, right? So let's dive into the monthly time frame. Now we're going to zoom in a bit. So we're first looking at the monthly. Now we're looking at the weekly, right? So now on the weekly, we can see a little bit more, right? Things are a little bit clearer on what's happening, right? So if we look at what's going on right now, we can see this big move up, right? We had this massive move. Then we had consolidation here. Let me take this one out. We had this consolidation. We almost had a breakdown to the downside, but then boom, we broke up. So this is a very common pattern. So I mean, this is not a surprise by any extent. this is a bull flag here. So if you guys look up a bull flag, this is basically what it is. A big move up, impulse move up, consolidation, and a breakout, which the breakout is a continuation from the previous leg up, right? So from this move up, then the break to the upside is a continuation. So the way that you would measure this, let's do this together here. Let me grab, where is it? What am I looking for? I'm looking for a price range. All right, so let's grab price range. And the way that we measure this, from the bottom, the beginning of the initial move up to about the top, doesn't have to be exact, right? Now we grab this and we put this where the breakout occurs, which is right here. The breakout occurred at about $44,000. And now this gives us a target. And look what this target is, guys. This target is about $73,000. Let me see where it's at. So 72,947 is what it's giving us. Let's round it up, and it's about $73,000. That's the target that this move, that this chart pattern is giving us, right? And now we already see the breakout. Now we saw a breakout. We saw it go above this red resistance area, which was between about $45,000 to $48,000. This was a level that I spoke about a lot over the last few months. And now we're at $50,000. Again, $50,000 is a big whole number. It's a big even number, and it's halfway to 100, right? So that's a psychological, that becomes a psychological resistance level, right? So price is probably going to bounce around here for a while. I expect the range to be between 48,000 to 50,000. It'll be bouncing there around for a bit. And once we do get a continuation of that breakout above 50, the next main target is going to be 52. I already know because I've done this for so long and I've been playing these levels for so long. But you're probably saying, okay, why 52? Why is 52 the number? And let's just, before we even look back, or actually, let's just go ahead and look back. And look at this right here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, basically a full month where price was stuck there between, look, 52 to about, in the bottom of this range was around 45. If we look here, what do we see here again? 52, right? This is 52,000. If we look here, look at this one. This is support. It bounced at around 52. Let's see, the low was 53, so just before. And once again, if we come here, this is bouncing between $50,000 and $52,000 as that support level there. So again, we're not trying to predict the future. We're just looking back on history and seeing where's that next level of interest that price likes, that price has used as a resistance or support in the past, and because that will likely play a role in the future. And we see it over and over and over again. And once again, we're going to see that again. That's the next main level here for Bitcoin. Once we're above 50, is going to be 52. So the trading range here, because remember, Bitcoin likes to trade in ranges. It's probably right now it's between 48 and 50 is what I'm expecting. But don't be surprised if that top of the range extends out to about 52,000. And then we could see something between 48 to 50. Honestly, I think once we hit 52, then we might not go back to 48, and the range might change to about 50 to 52, but with the possibility of the lower range being 48. So that's pretty much the range that I'll be probably looking at, 48 to 52, and that'll break above that. You know, we probably have 60 at that point. But overall, just from looking at this, so we looked at the monthly, right? We kind of figured out what was going on overall. Then as soon as we dropped to the weekly, we saw a chart pattern, right? We got this chart pattern. This chart pattern gives us a target of about $73,000 for this next leg up, for this next move up, right? Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen today. It doesn't mean it's going to happen this week or next week. Look how long this move took. This move started on the 16th of October, and it reached its top around the 4th of December. So that was about 2 months for this move to happen, right? So in 2 months, in the next 60 days, do you think we can hit $73,000? It's definitely a possibility because it's not that much of a reach. It's really only a 64% move from this breakout point. And from where we currently are, I didn't mean to move that one. Let's see if I can grab this. From where price currently is only a 48% move, which is 48% in crypto in 2 months. That's really nothing, guys. That happens all the time, right? So so that's the main target, right? So now we've kind of by looking over the chart, we kind of have a target to look forward to. Now we say, okay, so how can we play this, right? So now what we're gonna do is zoom into the daily. Now looking at the daily, it shows us more details, right? So now we're seeing more details of what's going on day to day, right? And that's why we always say that you know, regardless of what's going on, like when we see a drop like this was a 21% drop here that we had over the last few weeks in January. When something like this happens and you're just staring at the daily chart, it looks like the end of the world, right? You're like, that's it. We're going all the way. And that's why people were saying, oh no, that's it. We're dropping back to $30,000, right? So like, let me go to replay. So when the chart looks like this, we're like, wow, that's it. We're dropping back all the way back down. We're probably going we lost this support. We lost the 50 daily EMA moving average. We're losing this support here. We're dropping all the way back down to this support, and this support sits at what, $31,000. The next Fibonacci level is at $30,000. If we look back recently here, we can see that this was a big resistance, so that's likely to be a support. So that's why you had a lot of people like on Twitter and all over the place saying that Bitcoin was going to drop to $30,000, to between $30,000 to $32,000. I kept saying that's not going to happen. And why did I think that wasn't going to happen? Was because I zoomed out and looked at history. So let's get out of the replay. And obviously we know what happened, right? Look at this bounce all the way back up. So when things are happening like that, what you need to do, you need to zoom out, right? You got to zoom out. If you zoom out, and now let's do the replay again. Let's go all the way down to this candle here. So although this might look like now that we have this, there's only this one candle here, but look how much better this chart looks now, right? And if we zoom out even further to the monthly, look at this. Do you think we're going to continue dropping based on this chart? There's nothing here that tells us that we're going to continue dropping at that point. So that's why you need to zoom out a lot of times. And I spoke about this, but historically, last year overall, during our move up, the biggest pullback, well, the average pullback was about 21.5%. In 2020, 2021, during the Bitcoin bull run, the average pullback was 21.5%, closer to 22%. So we actually hit 21.5%. So let's from the top right here to the bottom, look at that, 21.5%. So when we were getting this pullback, I said $38,000 is probably the bottom for this pullback, because one, it's a major level historically, right? This is $38,000. Two, we were stuck below $38,000 for a while before we were finally able to break out above it. And three, it's a historically, whenever we've had pullbacks, or recently, not over the course of Bitcoin's lifetime, but recently, you know, as Bitcoin gets older and more mature, it's less volatile, so the pullbacks aren't as harsh as before. And last year, the average was 21.5. The last bull run, 2020, 2021, was 21.5. So I was expecting when I kind of measured it out, it took us down to $38,000, which was a big support. 21.5 made sense for me. So that's how I came up with that number. But that's why you have to be able to zoom out, guys. You got to be able to zoom out. Like today is red. Today we've got rejected at $50,000, but it doesn't mean we're gonna drop all the way back down to 44,000. We still have a lot here. We just had a massive move. So now what Bitcoin's probably gonna do is gonna retest previous resistance, right? So previous resistance is, let me get my brush. Here we go. This is previous resistance. So what happens when you get a breakout, the price goes up, comes back down, it retests the previous resistance. It's now flips it into support, and then we get a continuation to the upside. So that's pretty much what I'm expecting to see here. A slight pullback to $48,000, which is what we've already had. Look at the low. The low today, 48,300. And then a continuation to the upside is what I would expect to see, with a possible target of around $52,000 is what I'm looking at. I think at 52, we get another pullback, maybe back down. It could be either back down to 50 for a retest of 50, or maybe back down once again to 48, and then again a bounce and continuation to the upside. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for here. So overall, the target here, the potential target is $73,000. So what we're trying to do is really buy on these dips, right? Because it's not going to be a straight shot up to 73,000 over the next few months. We're going to get dips. So ideally, you want to be buying these dips. So today we have a dip, and the ideal level here for me to enter would be at $48,000, right? Now, 48,000. When I say 48,000, I don't mean exactly $48,000. It could be anywhere between 48,000, 48,250, 48,000, even as much as 48,500. So don't come back and say, oh, $48,000 never hit. Well, it went down to 48,300. You can't set your levels at 48,000 exactly, because a lot of the times price is not going to reach that number. And if it does reach it, price is probably going to drop a little bit lower. So at that point, you want to wait for it to drop lower and then bounce back up over $48,000. So that's pretty much my ideal buy zone right now, though. So I would say anything below 48,500 is a possible area for a long entry right now. I am not looking to short this, and I know a lot of people always asking about shorting. I'm not looking to short Bitcoin here at any of these levels. I don't care how big of a resistance it might be. I am not looking to short, guys. You shouldn't be looking to short either. You're making trading's difficult enough, and trying to open trades against the trend makes your life even more difficult. Why make your life more difficult, guys? No need to short here. Look for opportunities to go long again is what I do. So that's basically the only thing that I'm looking at here. So the first entry I'm interested in is anything below 48,500. Next entry, potentially above 50,000. I'm interested in another move in possibly a breakout above 50,000. Or you could do a breakout above the previous high, which is 50,475. So that's another way that you can play that. And then those are probably the only two entries that I'm looking at right now for this week. Because above 51, even though it is a possible play, 52 is definitely going to be a resistance. So maybe instead of 51, I'd skip it and I'd do a breakout trade above 52,000. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it as of this moment. Of course, this all could change depending on what happens in the market, what price does, et cetera, et cetera. So I love playing breakouts during a bull market. So you'll see me play those a lot. I love playing big support areas on retests during a bull market as well. So those are the main two things that I'm usually looking for. I'm also looking for breakouts out of big areas, big points of interest and things like that as well. So I think I've pretty much covered what I'm looking for and what I'm watching this week. Let's take a look at the liquidation levels. And while I do this, if you guys have any questions about anything that I'm covering, anything I've spoken about, maybe something I didn't mention, drop it in the comments. This is your opportunity to drop it in the comments, and if I have an answer for you, I'll go ahead and answer them. If not, then maybe we can find the answer together. But let's take a look here at the liquidation heat map. A liquidation heat map basically shows us where there's potentially a lot of money, a lot of liquidity. And how or why is there liquidity there? Well, it's either an area where there's a lot of buy orders or sell orders, or it's an area where traders are putting stop losses, right? Or it's an area where people are getting liquidated, their positions, their leveraged positions liquidated. So all that kind of adds up to this liquidation heat map that shows us potential areas where there's a lot of liquidity, right? And a lot of the times, these areas of liquidity could play as support and resistance areas as well. So what we'll see a lot of the times is, like for example, right here, look at when price was here, look at how yellow this was. This was a big area of liquidity, and eventually price broke above that level and continued up, right? Now, the next big bright yellow area of liquidity is up here, which is currently, it's sitting around 51,700, which is very, very close to our resistance area that we just spoke about, $52,000, right? So it's probably only a matter of time before we break this the same way we broke this one here. Now, if we look for the downside, we have some liquidity down here. This sits around, let's see, looks like 46,500 area. Then we have a little bit more around 44, 43, and even down at 42. But as you can see, those they're not very bright. So when they're not very bright, that means that there's some liquidity there, but not as much as there is here. The brighter it is, the more liquidity it is. And usually Bitcoin loves to go to wherever the majority of the liquidity is sitting. So this is a 7-day chart here that we just looked at. Let's look a little further back. Let's zoom out a little bit and look at the monthly. Again, we can see the same thing here. This was bright yellow, and what did price do? It went and broke above it, right? So now where's the brightest yellow part right now as far as liquidity? We can see that there's not a lot. There's nothing bright yellow like this one. We do see some down here. So this is around 41,000. Here is 38, 39,000, and this is 34. So one thing we have to remember is that we're looking at the monthly, on a monthly time frame. The reason that it's important to know that is because a lot of these orders could be old, right? It could be from 25 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, right? So they might not, the liquidity might not be there anymore because it's so old. That position might have closed already, and this doesn't track when a position closes. It just tracks when they open, where the liquidity is, or when they set their orders in those specific spots. So what you'll see a lot of times is that on the monthly time frame, every day this will change a bit, and you'll see that these liquidity pools slowly creep up and start following the price. So that's just kind of one thing to note there. But again, there's not anything bright yellow. We just see these are a little yellow, but these could be old. They might not even be there anymore. And then we have these liquidity levels that's starting to build up above the recent highs here, all the way as high as $52,000, which is the next target that we're looking at. And then lastly, let's look at the 12 hours. So this is a 12-hour chart. And I'm going to zoom in even further because look how small it is. We can't even see what's really going on. And you can see that the majority of liquidity on the smallest time frame that we can look at is sitting to the upside. Once again, we have liquidity here, 49,500. We have liquidity here at 50,550. So that's right above the recent highs. And that's not a surprise. That you'll see that all the time on these smaller time frames. And really, there's nothing to the downside. So once again, liquidity pools are pointing to the upside, which fits the analysis that I did on the chart that tells us that price is going to continue going to the upside. So because of those things, that's why I believe we're going to continue up at least to $52,000. At $52,000, I think we can reevaluate if we get there. The other time that we reevaluate is if we break below $48,000, right? Because right now, 48,000 is the bottom of the trading range for us, and 50 is the top. But we still, I still believe, because of our analysis, that 52 is actually is the next target and could actually be the top of the trading range, and we could be trading between 48 to 52. If we break above one of those levels, or if we get to one of those levels, then we reevaluate the charts and we see what the charts are telling us, and we look again at liquidity to see if what the chart is showing, if it fits the same story, if it's the same story that the liquidity is showing. So that's pretty much what analyzing is. When you're analyzing charts, when you're trying to make predictions, or you're trying to play probability, you're trying to look for a story. You're trying to figure out what story price action is giving you, and then you're trying to put the two together and find as much confluence as possible to support your theory or support the story that you think the chart's telling you. So that's why this is always open to perspective, right? Everyone's analysis could be completely different, just depending on what story they're seeing in the chart and what confluence they have. So if you guys remember, the last thing I want to touch on here, we had this bearish divergence. A bearish divergence is simply when price is going up, right? You see prices going up, setting up higher highs, higher lows, while the momentum, in this case the RSI, is going low, is dropping down, and basically doing the opposite of this, is setting lower lows and lower highs. So we had that, and that's always a something to be cautious about whenever we have that in the charts. We spoke about that multiple times, and we eventually did get that 21% dip. Now you can see that we've broken above this divergence. This was the trend line here that was basically holding price down. You can see that we've broken back above this area. And now if we look at this now, you can see that price is perfect. There's no divergence at this time. Now we're back in sync. So we're all good. Even though price here is oversold right now, being oversold doesn't mean that price needs to drop. It just means that that's where the momentum is right now. So momentum is all the way to the upside. You can see that here price was oversold all the way back in October, but price continued to climb all the way until January. So just because price gets into oversold does not mean that price is going to go down, right? So I know a lot of people get confused with that, but just that's something to keep in mind. This is more of a momentum indicator than anything else. So we're in oversold territory right now, but we're in sync. Once these two get out of sync, that's when you should start worrying a little bit. But for now, we're good. So yeah, I think we pretty much have covered everything that we wanted to cover today. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I think I'm gonna wrap things up. Appreciate you guys, for everyone that tuned in. We've been live now for about 50 minutes. We're gonna get back to doing these weekly and potentially twice a week. So I want to do one day Bitcoin analysis, the second live stream altcoin analysis. So so today, what day is today? Today's Tuesday, so either tomorrow or Thursday we'll do an altcoin analysis with another live stream. So I'll see you guys there. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. Rivers, Dave, I see you. 100 deaths, I haven't seen you in forever. Glad to see you in here again. And once again, shout out to Ram with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Ram. Brendan Matthews, No problem. Thank you for tuning in as well, Brendan. Timmers, thanks for tuning in. Des, what made it hit 50K? It was just time, baby. It was just time. Nah, chat. Go back on the live stream and check it out. What I broke down. And right now, this is my new target now, $73,000, man. So yeah, definitely go back if you missed the live stream, the beginning where I started doing the analysis. I suggest that you go back and watch that. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, peace and love.